Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So Manchester United are back in Premier League action this Saturday at home to Leicester. So on this video today I'm just going to give you some team news, building up to the game, and also going to give you my predictions on this video. So reportedly Manchester United could be missing up to 5 players for the game against Leicester this Saturday. Obviously we do know Wan-Bissaka, Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial of course all had to withdraw from international duty. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka, sustained a back injury, Pogba, sustained an ankle injury, and of course, Anthony Martial had sustained a thigh injury. But we definitely could be without them 3 players. I do believe that Luke Shaw is also a doubt for the game, because I think Solskjaer confirmed that Luke Shaw is going to be out for the next week or 2. Obviously, like I said, he's out with a hamstring problem. So reflecting on the amount of injuries we've got, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will probably have to rotate the squad. So as we all know that Luke Shaw anyway he's a very imperative player. Obviously he is our first choice left back, and I think before he sustained his injury this season, I thought he had a pretty average start to the season, but I think analysing the majority of his Manchester United career, I think he's been mainly consistent. He won the double player of the season last season, don't forget. And Wan-Bissaka, he's a very imperative player. Like I said, he had to withdraw from the England squad. He did say the other week, I think it was, saying that he had returned to Old Trafford, obviously for treatment. He did initially say he'd be monitored in the next couple of days, to see if he can regain full fitness for the Leicester game or not. But I think Wan-Bissaka is a doubt. But I think Wan-Bissaka, some people believe he's been our most consistent signing so far this season. Obviously I think his valuation will grow along Wan-Bissaka's, if he does keep the consistency up. I do believe so far this season Wan-Bissaka is replicating what he did last season with Crystal Palace, because Wan-Bissaka only made his senior debut back in February 2018. So I think he's going to be a huge doubt for this game against Leicester. With Diego Dalot, what we know about him is, he won't be playing this weekend against Leicester. I think he's got a groin problem. It actually did say there's been a change of scenery, because he did say in regards to Diego Dalot that actually, he would have been fully fit, after the international break, but obviously, that hasn't materialised. Obviously, Diego Dalot is one of our backup options at that right back position, so I presume that probably Ashley Young, could be playing at right back in the game against Leicester, because obviously Wan-Bissaka's a doubt, Diego Dalot's out, and obviously, Luke Shaw and that's out, so I think probably, Young could get given the opportunity. Maybe at left back, Rojo could actually, get given the opportunity to play this weekend against Leicester. In regards to Paul Pogba, obviously, like I said, he sustained an ankle injury in the 1-1 draw with Southampton. And he did initially say the other week that Paul Pogba, would undergo a scan, to obviously, see how, serious the damage is. And I did say, I'm hopeful, that the injury is not too severe. Now, obviously, Paul Pogba has started all 4 of our Premier League games so far this season. I think he's performed okay. I think his performance was a bit below par, in the 1-1 draw with Southampton. But I think prior to that, he's done pretty okay. I don't think, Pogba's performed to the same sort of extent as our Martial, Daniel James, Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and that's performed. But I still say he's the long-term solution for Man United. But I think Paul Pogba is a huge doubt for this weekend against Leicester. And we haven't really got a backup to Paul Pogba in that midfield. And this is why I've got element of concerns about that midfield. And this is why I was infuriated, that we didn't, strengthen that midfield up, throughout the course of the summer, because that's obviously one of the priority areas, where Manchester United needed to strengthen up. But yeah, Paul Pogba has got an ankle injury, so he had to withdraw from the France squad the other week, so he didn't represent France in that, so he could be missing the game this weekend. But obviously, more team news will get updated anyway, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing his press conference tomorrow. The good thing though, in regards to Paul Pogba, is that we do know now he's staying at the football club anywhere, at least until January. I still believe Paul Pogba's plans for the future is to make a move to Real Madrid, because obviously he was relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid for the entirety of the summer. He obviously had a long running transfer saga in that, but Paul Pogba ended up staying at Manchester United. We have confirmed that if we are to let him go in January, we are standing firm on our valuation. We want somewhere in the region of around £179 million if we are willing to let him go in January. And obviously we was demanding around £180 million for the majority of the summer, and I did say based on the substantial amount we're were put on him. That was the stumbling block of Paul Pogba leaving the football club because Real Madrid were not willing to pay up to £180 million. So basically was demanding just over double than what we paid for him from Juventus back in 2016 and that. Obviously reports came out earlier on this week and reportedly said one of the main reasons why Paul Pogba stayed at Man United this summer because of Adidas. Reportedly Adidas wanted Paul Pogba to stay at Manchester United because they think it's better for them commercially, and reportedly Adidas has stopped Paul Pogba making his move to Real Madrid. Now possibly Paul Pogba could commit his long-term future in Manchester United. If he is, he could possibly renew his contract, because I think recent reports have come out and said that Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has been in negotiations with the football club. Discussing, Paul Pogba's future and over the possibility of renewing his contract, because Paul Pogba's got 2 years left on his contract at Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year and that, and he's on around 290 grand weeks. I think now he is one of the highest paid players at the football club. Paul Pogba's brother again fueled more speculation quite recently. He reportedly said that Paul Pogba had spoken to Barcelona's Lionel Messi, because it wasn't only Real Madrid that were in for Paul Pogba this summer. I also believe that Barcelona had inquired about his services. Don't forget, there was possible talks about Paul Pogba making a return back to Turin, because he did have 4 good years in Turin with Juventus, but hasn't mainly replicated this at Manchester United. But for me, it's still the long-term solution for Man United is Paul Pogba and that. But like I said, Real Madrid, they spent a substantial amount, throughout the course of the summer anyway. I think they spent over around £300 million on 5 players. Don't get me wrong, Real Madrid did sell players, so they did generate, some money back. But, analysing it, from Real Madrid's perspective, and Zinedine Zidane as well, he'll be very infuriated, that I didn't get Paul Pogba, because he identified Paul Pogba as his #1 priority target, throughout the course of the summer and that. But I think Real Madrid will definitely reignite their interest in the January transfer window in Paul Pogba. But at least he's staying at the football club at least until January. But we have seen, Paul Pogba at his best as a Manchester United player. When Paul Pogba is at his best, he's arguably one of the best midfielders in the world. He's like 2 players in one. He's good at feeding the attackers, and you mainly see the best there of Paul Pogba, when he is freed up. But I did give you a couple of main reasons anywhere why Paul Pogba still wants out of the football club, because maybe he's frustrated with the lack of competitiveness. Maybe he wants to be playing in Champions League football, and maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players. So they're the reasons probably why he wants to leave the football club and that. And obviously Paul Pogba said back in June, which was obviously early on this summer, he said he wanted to leave Manchester United. He publicly admitted it, and he did actually say he was seeking for a new challenge in that. There was talks early on in the summer of possibly Paul Pogba getting the captaincy this season, in a bid to convince him to remain at the football club. Solskjaer was considering giving Paul Pogba the captaincy at one point, but Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, for the entirety of the summer, he was working on getting Paul Pogba's transfer to Real Madrid completed. He actually said at the start of pre-season that Paul Pogba was in the process of leaving the football club and that. But Paul Pogba is now into his 4th season as a Manchester United player since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. And like I said, I think he's had a pretty decent start to this season. He's obviously won the Europa League and League Cup with us. That came in his 2nd season at Manchester United, Paul Pogba. And obviously, it hasn't only been this summer, Paul Pogba's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, he was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, reflecting on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. And obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, of course, when Jose Mourinho left the football club. But it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to actually build a side around Paul Pogba. But we do know he's our most expensive signing and that. But I think he probably will leave in January or next summer, especially, if we're still being if we're not being competitive enough and that. So yeah, Paul Pogba's out for this weekend against Leicester. Like I said with Anthony Martial, he's out with a thigh injury. Neither Martial or Luke Shaw, played in the game at Southampton. That obviously with Martial, like I said, I think he's been one of our best players so far this season. Obviously got confirmed at the start of the season that Anthony Martial has been given that number 9. So obviously he's playing more central this season, because obviously Martial, seems to be more effective in that central position. I know he primarily plays out wide, does Martial, but it just seems to be more effective in that central position. Like I said, that got proven throughout pre-season. season. But he's had a great start to this season as Anthony Martial, obviously, you know, before he sustained that thigh injury. And I think so far this season, what I've seen of Anthony Martial, you know, I think he's replicated, you know, what he did in his first season with the football club, because I thought Anthony Martial was fantastic in his first season. Obviously, this was back under the Louis van Gaal era. We've got Martial as a 19-year-old, and I think in that particular season, Martial scored around 17 goals. I think he scored 50 goals for the club in all competitions as Anthony Martial. He scored his 50th goal against Wolves earlier on in the season, and this is now his 5th season as a Manchester United player, so I believe, you know, he's developing really, really well, and he's only 23 years of age, but I don't think he's quite, you know, yet emulated to that level, but I think, you know, he can get to that level, can Anthony Martial. So if Martial, when he recovers from this injury, if he can avoid, you know, sustaining any more of injuries and that, and, you know, he can keep the consistency up, I believe Martial can score from at least between 15 to 20 goals this season, because I think, you know, a lot of things have improved about him. His finishing's improved, he's getting them runs in behind more, so I have been very, very impressed with Anthony Martial so far this season. I think he's going to be a doubt for the game this weekend. Don't forget, you know, reflecting back in the last game in the 1-1 draw with Southampton. Obviously, you know, Rashford had fulfilled Anthony Martial's role. Rashford was obviously, you know, playing in that central position, but obviously, you know, Rashford got a lot of criticism, you know, reflecting on his bad performance in the game against Southampton. You know, Rashford was so poor, he looked so isolated in that central position. We didn't really get any of them runs in behind, didn't really, you know, latch on to any of them crosses. Despite the fact, though, that Rashford did put a bad performance out, I still believe, you know, he's the long-term solution for Manchester United, and that, you know, he's only 21 years of age. He has still got a lot of development in him. But I think, you know, reflecting on his recent bad performances, you know, Rashford, you know, Solskjaer could decide to drop Marcus Rashford, because I think recently Solskjaer confirmed he's becoming infuriated with Rashford's performances. So Rashford could possibly be dropped for this game against Leicester. Could be dropped for this game against Leicester. And don't forget, we've got other injuries as well. Obviously, you know, we know that Eric Bailly's a long-term absence. He's out until, I think, the new year with a knee injury. Obviously, he had sustained this knee injury throughout pre-season. We do know that Fossil Mensah is long-term absence. We know that Lee Grant is out with injury. Obviously, recently, Jesse Lingard, was it the other week, you know, he had to withdraw from the England squad with illness. And I think there's the vast majority of Manchester United fans anyway, you know, demanding, you know, Jesse Lingard to be dropped, you know, due to his inconsistency, because he's endured a pretty bad start to this season as Jesse Lingard. So maybe, you know, Jesse Lingard, you know, does need to be dropped. But like I did say earlier on in the video, you know, reflecting on the amount of injuries we have got, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, will need to rotate the squad a lot. So don't forget, we could be missing up to 5 players for the game against Leicester this weekend, and to be fair, you know, that's a really, really bad news to be quite honest with you. Like I did say, I'll credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, in the aspect, you know, that he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. Don't forget, he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players as Solskjaer. Like I said, I thought the young players who played throughout pre-season were at fruition, and I did say at the start of this season, I believe, you know, the young players will become fruition. I think in this game as well against Leicester, definitely Mason Greenwood needs to get given the start. So he could drop Rashford and obviously play Mason Greenwood instead. Mason Greenwood needs to get opportunity from the start. So far this season, Mason Greenwood has made 4 substitute appearances, but he has not yet, you know, started the game from the start. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, has said he's considering giving Mason Greenwood more of a prominent role at the football club anyway, because like I said, he's recently, you know, become irritated with Rashford's recent performances. But Mason Greenwood, you know, should you know, be in line to start against Leicester. Obviously Mason Greenwood is only 17 years of age. Obviously still got a hell of a lot of development in him. Don't forget, he was good for the reserves last season. You know, he scored 30 goals in 29 games. But yeah, and Solskjaer actually, you know, assured at the start of this season, you know, that Mason Greenwood, you know, will get obviously, you know, more first team opportunities, which is good. In regards to Chon, I doubt he'll play in this game. Even though recently Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, assured that, you know, Chon, you know, should get more first team opportunities. Obviously, Chon, you know, was subjected to quite a bit of transfer speculation recently. Don't forget, you know, Chon had received loan offers from PSV and his former club Feyenoord, but obviously, you know, he had rejected them loan offers because he wants to remain loyal deal to Manchester United. I think reports were stemming out the other week saying that Chon was in negotiations with the football club over a new possible contract, but Chon is only 19 years of age. He did play throughout pre-season, but he's yet to make an appearance this season in the Premier League as Chon. So maybe could be involved possibly. In regards to Angel Gomez, I think maybe he should get given the opportunity. Should Angel Gomez? I'm surprised that, like I keep saying, he wasn't playing in the game against Southampton, or he wasn't even involved in the game against Southampton, because it didn't actually say Angel Gomez is going to be a big part of the squad this season. I do believe McTominay definitely will keep his place in that midfield, reflecting on his impressive performances so far this season. Because I think McTominay has done really well so far this season for Manchester United. In the aspect. I've got an element of concern, like in the aspects that I don't know if he's a long-term solution for Man United, and there is question marks around McTominay. Can he, keep the consistency up? But so far, so good. So far this season, he has been mainly playing alongside Paul Pogba in that midfield. But McTominay has done well so far this season. So I'll credit, his recent performances. Like I said, Paul Pogba could be missing, so obviously, McTominay I presume will be playing alongside someone else in our midfield. Like I did say, Daniel James, could be given the start in this game, with the injury of Anthony Martial and all that. And I think Daniel James, has had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, he's already scored 3 goals so far this season. Obviously, you can still say that Daniel James is still a prospect and he needs time to develop, but he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Obviously, he's taken a huge step in his career, coming all the way from the Championship, to the Premier League, and he has done really well so far as Daniel James. His versatility is good because he can play on the left, he can also play him out on the right. I think he can also play him as an attacking midfielder, but Daniel James is only 21 years of age, but he's had a fantastic start. Like I said, Wan-Bissaka's been fantastic. I think Harry Maguire has done quite well in that back line, and I do believe he has addressed our defensive deficiencies. Obviously Harry Maguire will be playing against obviously his former club Leicester. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre-backs are Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire, and I do believe they are complementing each other fantastically well. Don't get me wrong, I think Victor Lindelof's performances have been a bit below par in the last couple of games, but I think he's still the long-term solution for Manchester United. Is Victor Lindelof without a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, reflecting on the amount of injuries we've got, I do believe, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will rotate the squad quite a bit. But it is very imperative, that we get back to winning ways against Leicester this weekend, because, we've enjoyed them very difficult start to the season so far. Obviously, we've only won 1 game out of our last 4. So we've only registered 5 points for a possible 12, because we've won 1, we've drawn 2, and of course we have lost 1. And analyse it, it's not that we've particularly, played, awful or badly at all. It's just that, we haven't been clinical enough in front of goal. Maybe we have been creating chances, but we just haven't been clinical enough in front of goal. As recently, Gary Neville was saying, he believes that we're on the right track under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does Gary Neville. But obviously, he believes, we're not being clinical enough in front of goal, and obviously we need to justify that problem. And what I've seen so far this season, is replicating, what I saw last season. Because last season was a huge disappointment. Last season we only managed 53 goals in the Premier League last season. We created a lot of chances last season, but only managed 53 goals in the Premier League last season. And last season we finished 6th, and so we finished around 32 points behind Man City. Failed to qualify for the Champions League and that. And I did say with us obviously failing to qualify for the Champions League, I did say, that went against us in the summer transfer window of recommending all the players, that we did want to obviously, get in to the football club and that. To credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the aspect, that he did recommend 3 good players to the squad. We spent over 140 million pounds, but obviously, we didn't get all our number 1 targets that that we wanted to get in that. Because I did say, certain players at a certain calibre and level, would have had reservations about joining the football club. But I did did initially say, definitely further more investment is needed in January. Also, perhaps maybe further more investment is needed next summer, and maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, needs that time to make further more investment, because you can still quite frankly say is in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad, because analysing the majority of this squad, it is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's and that. But like I said, we've got to get back to winning ways this weekend against Leicester, because Leicester have had a pretty decent start to this season. They've registered 8 points from possible 12. Obviously, in their last 4 games, so they've won 2, and of course they have drawn 2. I think Leicester won their last 3 in all competitions, and Leicester, did good business, throughout the course of the summer. I think an estimated guess, Leicester spent around £90 million on players. I think they recommended 4 players in. Obviously they paid a club record fee for Yori Tillemans, who they paid £42 million for. Obviously, who else did they get? They got James Justin from Luton for £6 million. They obviously got Perez from Newcastle for around £30 million. And they got Dennis Pryor from Sampdoria, who they paid around £18 million for. So Leicester, did quite a good investment in the summer transfer window. And Leicester are sitting 3rd in the Premier League at the moment. So it is actually going to be a tough encounter. But we usually do beat Leicester anyway. We know our record against them, is really, really good, should I say. Obviously we did the double over them last season, beat them 2-1 at home, 1-0 at the King Power Stadium, but we've actually won 8 of our last 9 against Leicester at Old Trafford, so we do really good against them at Old Trafford. Leicester have only won 1 of their last 20 league games against us, and that victory actually came, I think, back in September 2014. Leicester won that particular game by 5 goals to 3. But I said, our away record's been poor recently, but also our home record's been poor recently. We've lost 3 of our last 5 Premier League games at Old Trafford, don't forget. We lost to Palace early on in the season at home, but this is a game, Manchester United, definitely, have to win, and that, if we want to keep our hopes up, of getting that top 4, because I did actually say at the start of the season, our expectations this season, will be to finish in that top 4, and perhaps, maybe win some silver. And obviously, for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to remain in the job at Man United, obviously, he's got to exceed these expectations, because I said, analysing our squad at the moment, it's definitely not good enough, to win the league or challenge for the league. I don't think we'll be winning the league, at least for the next 2 to 3 years, at least, should I say. But I think definitely analysing our squad, is good enough for a top 4 finish. And like I said, we've got to get in that top 4 this season. That's very, very imperative indeed. But I did say, with the dimension, the history of this football club, we should be up there competing and winning silverware and that. And obviously, we haven't done this in the last 6 or 7 years. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has blatantly made it clear anyway. He wants to make further more investment in January. Obviously, the question is though, who will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer look to sign in January? Who will he look to sign in January? I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will still want to continue the pursuit of young homegrown players, because don't forget, reflected back early on in the summer, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer worked out his transfer strategy, and he did say he wanted to recommend a number of young players in to the football club. And Solskjaer actually said early on in the summer he believes he's following a policy that actually proved successful under Alex Ferguson and that. So this is what he had basically said. But I do believe the players we was in for throughout the course of the summer, it's probably more than likely we will reignite our interest in them in January. So I think we may go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. Because don't forget, Bruno Fernandes obviously was one of our main priority targets throughout the course of the summer, but obviously we didn't get him, and it was a shame that we didn't get Bruno Fernandes, because I would have been excited about the prospects of Bruno Fernandes playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I do believe they would have complemented each other fantastically well. But Bruno Fernandes could still leave Borussia Dortmund in January. Obviously, don't forget, we inquired about getting Christian Eriksen towards the back end of the window. We was only tentatively linked with Christian Eriksen. He wasn't one of our main priority targets. Don't forget, we inquired about the possibility of Dybala and Mandzukic. Obviously, we're seeing Dybala or Mandzukic as an adequate replacement for Lukaku, because we didn't actually get that replacement for Lukaku. I think possibly Jadon Sancho could be Manchester United's next signing. Obviously, we was in for Jadon Sancho throughout the course of the summer. well, earlier on in the summer, was in for Jadon Sancho. Actually, reflecting back in January, we identified Jadon Sancho as our number one priority target, but our move got screwed for Jadon Sancho, obviously, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. But we do know even next summer, or January, Jadon Sancho is going to cost us a substantial amount. We'll probably have to pay in the excess of around £100 million to get him. But don't forget, Man United have, got the financial power, to meet that valuation and that. We've got that, financial power to beat that valuation. We could go back in for him in January, but I think, Jadon Sancho recently confirmed, he's set to, remain loyal to Borussia Dortmund at least for this season. But I think it did say Jadon Sancho is set to leave Borussia Dortmund next summer. Don't forget, Jadon Sancho is primarily a right winger. And don't forget, for the majority of the summer, Man United were in search for a right winger. Don't forget, Man United were in search for a right winner in that, and obviously Jadon Sancho was the number one prize target. But I would have been excited about, the prospects of Jadon Sancho, playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Martial, and Daniel James in our attack of our line. Jadon Sancho is only 19 years of age. He's under contract with Dortmund until 2022. Obviously, he's had 2 good seasons with Borussia Dortmund, and now he's in his 3rd season now with Borussia Dortmund and that. And I think he's been fantastic for them. And I think, the beneficial thing is more for Man United that obviously Jadon Sancho's played in the Premier League. Don't forget he served a couple of years with Manchester City when he was younger, but obviously never got a shot of regular first team football, and this is the main factor reason why he left City to join Borussia Dortmund and that. So he could possibly, be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next signing, but definitely no further more investment is needed in the squad. I'm happy that, throughout the course of the summer that we did address some of the problematic areas, but we didn't address all the problematic areas. And I did say anywhere it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window, because this is obviously only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager and that. But yeah, definitely further more investment is needed in January. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to be backed more in January, or perhaps next summer, because for me I don't think he was backed enough, this summer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the board assured that he would have been backed this summer, but for me wasn't backed enough. But I think, the board confirmed at the start of the season, like I do keep saying, regardless of what happens this season, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job should be safer for them at least this season and that. But like I did say, if we're not competing for the top 4 by January, either Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be sacked as Manchester United manager, or if not, the pressure, will continue mounting up. The pressure, will continue mounting up on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I'm hopeful that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure at Manchester United, can work out, because obviously we all love him a lot. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. And like I did say, we're not really known for a sacking club. We haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, because already 3 managers have been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's our 4th manager, 4th permanent manager, since the Alex Ferguson era. So for me, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does need more time to rebuild more. He needs more time, basically, does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Definitely, I think quite a few Man United fans have criticised his tactics, don't forget as well. But I think he does need a bit more time, because, don't forget, reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, I know we had, 20-odd years of success under him, but, don't forget, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, and at that point, he was on the verge of getting the sack in that, but he didn't, and then look what, obviously, he went and achieved, and we do know now, the boards are a lot more ruthless than there was, back in the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s and that. Like I said, if you don't win it, if you go winless in 5 or 6 games, obviously your manager is going to be under pressure in that. But I will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way. We do know that recent reports have come out not too long ago, actually, in regards to the new director of football at Manchester United. Now, obviously, earlier on this summer, Man United, were in search for a new director of football, basically at the football club. Now, obviously, I did say, we need a director of footballing, because I believe, we do need a structural change at the football club. And there was quite a few names, there was quite a few, former Manchester United players, linked with that director's role early on in the summer. Fletcher was linked with it, Ferdinand was linked with it, and Patrice Evering that was linked with it. I think also believe that Paul Mitchell at one point, was linked with that director's role at Manchester United. Now, obviously, we didn't get a director of football in early on in the summer, so obviously, Ed Wood had overseen our transfer business, for for the majority of the summer and that. But now, reportedly, Ed Wood is looking to still appoint a new director of football in. Now, as you all know, he has identified Edwin van der Sar as his number one target, to become the director of football at Manchester United. And I think, on that aspect, Ed Woodward is going on the experience in that, because obviously Edwin van der Sar has got the experience. He's been CEO at Ajax since 2016, and I do believe, Ed Woodward has actually, been delighted, with the work that he's produced, at Ajax. Obviously, also Edwin van der Sar, knows the traditions of Manchester United, because don't forget, he was a goalkeeper for us. He joined us in 2005. Obviously, spent 6 years there with the football club, so he was here from 2005 to 2011. This was obviously under the Alex Ferguson era. So maybe Edwin van der Sar, would be open to making a return back to Manchester United, to become our new director of football and that. But yeah, we definitely need a director of football. And I said, if we'd have got one in, maybe earlier on in the summer, then maybe, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could have been backed more throughout the course of summer. But if we can get one in maybe now, then maybe, in January, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will get backed more in that. But I did say anyway, we need a structural change at the football club and that. And I think Edwin van der Sar, would be very reliable, to oversee our transfer business, in January and, next summer and that. But it would be good to see, but it may not happen. I'm just, telling you what recent reports said early on this week, was it? I'm just telling you what recent reports have said earlier on this week. Sorry guys, just got a bit of a cough. Obviously, I'll give you the news as well. In regards to David De Gea yesterday, obviously, this was actually stemming from Adam Crafton, who's an athletic journalist. He reportedly said on De Gea's behalf, he said that he's on the brink of signing a new deal at the football club. Now, obviously, we do know that The Guardian reported on this earlier on this week, and The Guardian said basically, that David De Gea is close to signing a new contract. It didn't mention the length of what contract, he would be signing that. It just said, he's close to signing a new contract. Reportedly, he did say he has agreed around the £290,000 a week deal. So obviously, that means he'll get around the £90,000 pay rise, because obviously David De Gea on his current deal at the moment is on around 200 grand a week. Plus, he will earn the same basic wage as Paul Pogba, because we do know Paul Pogba is on around 290 grand a week at the football club. But there has been a change of scenery, because it was only recently, I think, coming out early on this week, saying that David De Gea, was on the verge of rejecting a contract offer from Manchester United, and it did say, we was at risk of losing David De Gea on a free transfer at the end of the season, because we do know David De Gea's current contract, expires at the end of this season and that. But I did say, it's very imperative, that we do keep David De Gea at the football club. Obviously, he's been a long servant at Manchester United. Obviously, he's been at the football club 8 years. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player, so he's actually nearly been at the football club a decade. De Gea's been here since the Alex Ferguson era. And analysing De Gea over the years he's been here, I believe he's had 7.5 good years at the football club. I think, he's been inconsistent so far this season. He was making costly mistakes towards the back end of last season, but that was mainly to do with the contractual situation. I think he's had an average 5 or 6 months at the football club, but I think prior to that, I admire his career at Manchester United. Now, we do know earlier on in the summer that, PSG, were regarded as the favourites to get David De Gea. They were regarded as the favourites, to get David De Gea. Obviously, we do know that, Real Madrid have been long admirers of David De Gea. They've been linked to him for a number of years. Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him back in 2015, but due to a fax machine on deadline day, the deal never materialised, and at that point, David De Gea remained loyal to the football club. And I think recently he said, Juventus have inquired about his services and that. And I did say anyway, if we're not competing for the top 4 by January, David De Gea, will want out with the football football club. But he is very, very imperative for Manchester United. I think it did actually say throughout pre-season, it was actually looking very, very imminent at that point throughout pre-season early on in the summer that De Gea anywhere was going to be committing his long-term future in Manchester United, because he did initially say that David De Gea was going to be signing a 6-year contract with the club worth up to around 375 grand a week, and then it did initially say he had agreed a deal in principle in regards to the contract, but didn't sign it. And it did initially say, his contract, would have been announced after we returned from pre-season, but obviously in that aspect that didn't materialise in that. But yeah, like I said, anyway, we've been in negotiations of getting David De Gea a new contract now, definitely for over a year. He actually said at the start of pre-season that the football club had to break through in negotiations with David De Gea's agent, George Mendes. But we've been in negotiations of getting David De Gea a new contract now for over a year, definitely. Obviously, we do know for the large periods of them negotiations, David De Gea, was basically, made it clear that he was demanding in the region of around 350 grand a week, to commit his long-term future in Manchester United. And for large periods, don't forget, Man United were not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. But then at the start of pre-season, or throughout pre-season, we decided, to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. 350 grand a week would obviously, make him the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. But yeah, according to Adam Crafton, what he's recently said, it was stemming from 101 great goals. He said David De Gea is on the brink of signing a new deal at the football club, which is very, very good news. But De Gea has made over 300 appearances for Manchester United in all competitions. Obviously, he's won everything here domestically. I think he's won 2 Premier League titles here, has he? I think, because he joined in 2011, or it might be 1. Obviously, he's won the Europa League with us, the FA Cup with us, the League Cup with us and that. So he's won everything here, domestically as David De Gea. He's won the club's player of the year, I think, 4 times out of the 6 or last 7 seasons, reflecting on his impressive performances. But I did say anyway, if we can't come to an agreement to get him a new contract, it's very imperative that we're cashing for David De Gea in January rather than letting go on a free transfer at the end of the season and that. And I still believe, reflecting, even though his performances have been below par for the last 5 or 6 months, and he's got a year, he's got he's got under a year left in his contract. I still believe, we could maybe cash in around £30 million for him in January. But it's looking at it now anyway. He's going to sign a new contract at the football club. I think there's been a couple of goalkeepers, on our agenda, who could replace David De Gea at Manchester United. Obviously, I think Jan Blanc have identified him as our #1 target to replace De Gea at the football club. Don't forget that we was in for Jan Blanc earlier on in the summer when it was actually at that point it was looking very imminent that David De Gea was going to be leaving. Obviously, I think also Jordan Pickford was on our agenda, so I do believe Man United have instructed scouts, to keep a close eye out, on them 2 goalkeepers and that. So yeah, we've got a couple of goalkeepers on our agenda who could replace him if he does still leave the football club. And anyway, we need a replacement for him if he does leave, because obviously look at our other goalkeepers. We've got Sergio Romero. Obviously, Romero is our second choice goalkeeper. Obviously, he's not reliable enough anyway, to become our #1 goalkeeper. Romero's under contract with the football club until 2021 with an option of a further 12 months. You've got obviously Dean Henderson. He's now gone back out on loan to Sheffield United. And I think it's good business in that aspect, because with him going back on loan, he's going to gain more experience as Dean Henderson, and obviously he's I think he's only 22 or 23, so Dean Henderson is only very, very young. Don't forget Joe Pereira's gone out on loan, to Hearts in Scotland, so we're definitely, if he's to leave, we need a replacement for David De Gea. But De Gea, has had a good career at Man United. I'm surprised he didn't actually make a return back to Spain, De Gea, because obviously, I thought he could have been open to the return, because don't forget, he's born in Spain, obviously his relatives and that are in Spain, and he began his footballing career in Spain. So, I'm surprised he didn't, make a return back to Spain, David De Gea. But he's still, 28 years of age, so you can still quite frankly say, he has got a lot of development in him as David De Gea. But according to recent reports, he's going to be signing a new deal with the football club, which is very, very good news. Now, like I did say to you, I do believe, furthermore investment he's definitely not needed in the January transfer window and perhaps next summer. But I also believe, this we need to focus on the outgoing still, despite the fact that quite a lot of players have now left, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. I think around, 7 players or something like that have left now since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. We do know Antonio Valencia left the football club at the end of last season after he served 10 years with Manchester United. He was a very long-serving player for the football club. Obviously, Chris Smalling, went out on loan to Roma. Obviously, Roma paid just under £3 million to get him out on loan. Chris Smalling was a long-serving player at the football club. He served 9 years with Manchester United. So he nearly served a decade at the football club. He could possibly return at the end of the loan, don't forget, because obviously it's without a buyout option, or there's no obligation to buy for Roma to make the deal permanent next summer. But yeah, he has gone. But despite the fact that Chris Smalling's gone, we've still got 6 centre-backs in the team. Obviously, Darmian went the other week. He went for just over £3 million. And I think, it was no surprise that Darmian, anyway, left the football club. It was no surprise, that Darmian, left the football club, because obviously he was served his 2 requirements at Manchester United anywhere. And, he was at Manchester United 4 years. But I'm just surprised, of how much we let him go for. So, we paid £12.7 million for Darmian back in 2015 from Torino. And obviously, we let him go for just over £3 million. So we've obviously lost out on around £9.1 million. So, like I did say, Man United are known for spending big on players and overpaying for players. And then when it comes to them leaving the football club, we let them go for next to nothing. So, in that aspect, that's a bad business serving the football club. But he went to join Parma anyway. And I think that's beneficial for Darmian's footballing career, because, he enjoyed a difficult 4 years with Man United, never really got the chance. And plus, he spent the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger, did Matteo Darmian. So, I'm glad that he's left the football club. I'm disappointed that Ander Herrera left, especially on a free transfer as well. We lost out on around, £29 million, because we paid £29 million for Ander Herrera from Atletico Bilbao back in 2014. And I thought Ander Herrera had 5 great years at Manchester United, so I will credit him in that aspect. And you could arguably say he was one of our best players since the Alex Ferguson era. And that, when he was on form, we know the difference he made in that midfield. He did have some rough patches, during his Man United tenure era, but I think the majority of the time, he was very, very consistent. And it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for him. Fellaini, he left Manchester United back in January. He went to China. He had 6 years at the football club. We got him under the David Moyes era. For the majority of that 6 years, Fellaini was very, very inconsistent. We paid just over £27 million for him. Lukaku left the football club, as you all know. I think, it was good business in that aspect, because, we did generate a substantial amount for his departure. I'm actually surprised, the money we got for Lukaku's departure, to be quite honest. I don't think we'd have got, 70-odd million pounds for him. So we basically, recouped the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago. And obviously, Sanchez, I'm glad, we got him out on loan. And, Sanchez, despite the fact, that he's on loan with Inter Milan, he's still the second highest paid player at the football club, I do believe. Or is it? No, I think he's the highest paid, is he, at the moment? Still, I think he's still on 300 grand a week. I still think Man United are giving him 300 grand a week, Alexis Sanchez, despite the fact that he's on loan with Inter Milan and that. But I think he'll probably do well in Italy, Will Sanchez. I know he enjoyed a difficult 18 months with Manchester United and that. But I'm glad we've got rid of him. And I did say anyway, the only way we would have got rid of him is putting him out on loan, because we would have found it hard to get rid of him permanently, reflected on his substantial wages. But yeah, I'm glad he's gone. But yeah, quite a lot of players now have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. But me speaking now, I still believe there's a couple of more players that do need to leave in January or next summer. For me, Phil Jones is one of the players that, for me, definitely needs to leave the football club. Maybe in January or next summer. And Phil Jones has been at Manchester United now, 8 years? I think this is now his 9th season as a Manchester United player, Phil Jones. Phil Jones has made over 300 odd appearances for the football club in all competitions. I think it's something like that, and he's won everything here domestically, but he's no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. Like I said, following the arrival of Harry Maguire, he's going to find game time very, very difficult anyway, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice is obviously now Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof in our backline. Maybe in the cup games, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may rotate a little bit. But yeah, so Jones is one of them that needs to go. Marcus Rojo, now obviously whilst the European transfer window is open, obviously we do know that the European transfer window shut on the 2nd of September. We do obviously know that, but Solskjaer actually said prior to the Southampton game that Rojo was going to be definitely staying at the football club, even though it was looking likely at one point that Rojo was going to be leaving Man United, because we do know that Marcus Rojo is surplus to requirements at Manchester United. Obviously we do know that. Obviously I think Everton had inquired about getting Rojo on transfer deadline day. Don't forget the likes of Marcelo, Monaco and AC Milan also, inquired about getting Marcus Rojo. Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Man United. I think he's played 70 odd games in the Premier League for us. He played throughout pre-season, but he's yet to make an appearance so far this season. But again, I think Rojo's Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained and that. So I think we need to consider offloading him in January or getting rid of him next summer. So he's another player, in my opinion, that does need to leave the football club. I think we're orchestrating on keeping Alex Tuanzebe. Like I said, I think Alex Tuanzebe is going to be a big part of the squad this season. Obviously, I think it was good that he was on loan with Aston Villa last season, because in that aspect, he has gained more experience now. So despite the fact that, Lindelof and Harry Maguire are our first choice, I still think, Alex Tuanzebe, should, get given the chance. Ashley Young, I do presume, this should be his last season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, it's obviously reflecting on his age mainly, and obviously now he's too inconsistent. Young's now 34, I think he's 35 next year. Don't forget the club gave him a new 1-year extension last season, Ashley Young. But like I said earlier in the video, he could be in line to start this weekend, obviously due to the injuries we've got, because we've got a few fullbacks out. Luke Shaw's out, Dalot's out, and Wan-Bissaka's out. So Wan-Bissaka, Ashley Young, should be in line to start this weekend. Like I said, he played at left back against Southampton, so maybe at left back Rojo could play at left back against Southampton. But yeah, Young's been here 8 years. He's now his 9th season as a Manchester United player. I said over the years, he has been very, very good for the football club, but he's no longer good now. He's basically past his sell-by date now as Ashley Young. So I think, he could go to another football club after he leaves Man United at the end of this season, or he could, make his retirement from football at the end of this season. I know some players, play football until like maybe 38 or 39, but I don't think it will happen with Ashley Young, in my opinion. Nemanja Matic, he's another inconsistent player. He's very, very poised, Nemanja Matic, and I don't think he's no longer first choice. I know he was first choice last season, but Matic is too inconsistent. He's too slow. Makes that midfield look totally imbalanced, and he's now aging up. His Matic, I think he's around 30 or 31 years of age now. So I think he's another player we need to consider getting rid of in January or next summer. But yeah, so for me, a couple of more players do need to leave Manchester United, but a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club over the years. Over £140 million spent this summer under Solskjaer, just under £400 million spent under Mourinho, over £200 million spent under Van Gaal, £67 million spent under David Moyes. So an estimated guess, and if my calculation's roughly right, I think we've spent nearly £900 million in the last 6 years on players, and reflecting on the amount of money we spend, we should be in much more of a commanding position than we're in now. But like I said, always spending big on players, and getting them Glasgow players doesn't always guarantee you success, and it's been proven with Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years or so. It's been proven with Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But yeah, a hell of a lot of money is being invested into the football club. If you want to take into account what was spent under Alex Ferguson, the football club has spent way over £1 billion on players. And also, we've got players on big, wages as well. So it probably mounts up to around £1 billion in the last 6 years if you want to involve the wages as well. But yeah, despite that we've enjoyed a difficult start to the season, I still think these certain players, that have, been impressive. Like I said, Daniel James has been impressive so far. Martial's been impressive before he sustained his injury. Wan-Bissaka's been impressive. Harry Maguire has been quite impressive. But, there is a lot of players, that have, underperformed, and that is an element of concern. So these players that do need to improve out a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, there is still a lot of young players at Manchester United, that are developing and trying to improve. As Gary Neville was recently speaking about it. He gave his overarching view on it and that. he gave his overarching view on it and all that. But if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was to be sacked as Manchester United manager, who would you recommend in? And that is the question: who would you recommend in? I know, obviously, before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, got appointed in as Manchester United manager, obviously, he was in for Pochettino for a long time. Obviously, he was the leading candidate, to become manager at Manchester United before we got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. I did say at the time I had an element of concerns about bringing Pochettino in. Obviously, reflecting on that, he hasn't got the experience of winning any silverware, and he still hasn't won any silverware as we speak now. Pochettino is in his sixth season now as manager of Tottenham, and that obviously before he was at Tottenham he had a good short tenure in that with Southampton. He's more experienced than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but Solskjaer's obviously won more, and that's obviously where the difference. Obviously we went with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer over Pochettino because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the traditions of the football club, Pochettino doesn't, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was obviously a cheaper solution because obviously we only paid a couple of £1 million, to get Solskjaer in his interim manager in that 3-month period, where he did good, the results were good and he exceeded expectations and that, and obviously we paid a further £7 or £8 million, to give Solskjaer the job permanently to mould. So this is what obviously Man United paid mould. I think for us to have got Pochettino in at that time, we was in for him before Solskjaer came in. Obviously we'd have to pay a commission of around 35 or £40 million. But don't forget, we also inquired about getting Zinedine Zidane as well before Solskjaer came in. I think Gary Neville actually believes that maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can emulate into like a Jurgen Klopp, because analysing what Jurgen Klopp's done, he's doing really good now with Liverpool, so I will credit him in that aspect. I hate to say that about my fiercest rivals and that, but you just got to be honest on these channels. And but Jurgen Klopp won his first major honour with Liverpool last season. Obviously, won the Champions League and that. And Jurgen Klopp didn't win out in his first few years, with Liverpool and that. So it took him time and that. Liverpool did invest well in the last couple of windows. They didn't make any investment this summer, but in the previous couple of windows, they did really, really good business. But maybe he could emulate into like Jurgen Klopp, good Solskjaer. But like I said, Solskjaer's got a bit of experience as a manager, not really to the highest level, and that's an element of concern. Solskjaer, did well as whilst he was interim manager last season. He won a couple of Norwegian titles with Molde and that. But I'm hopeful that his tenure at Manchester United, can work out. Very, very hopeful about that indeed. But like I said, we haven't won, the Premier League, since 2013. Obviously, that's over 6 years ago now. Obviously 2013, well, that was obviously in Alex Ferguson's last season where we won our last Premier League title and that. I just don't think we're going to win it at least for the next 2 to 3 years. That's my opinion. But like I said, that's mainly everything to update you with today. Leicester's going to be a tough game. Leicester did good investment throughout the course of summer. They have lost a couple of their imperative players in recent years of Leicester. They lost Harry Maguire this summer, they lost Rahid Mahrez last summer, to Manchester City. When Jamie Vardy's at his best, he's a danger man as well for Leicester. And yeah, Leicester, obviously, one of Leicester's most iconic, moment was obviously when they won the Premier League title back in 2016 and that. Yeah. So anyway, guys, that's mainly everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.